It's 5 o'clock. We can call the meeting to order. Let's do roll call
Lord Negro,
here.
Philomena Quebec, Mike Berlin,
Here.
Doreen Hannanen,
Here.
Ron Stendor,
Here.
And Philomena is on. I see her. Okay, we'll go to approval of agenda. Does everything look good on there? Did anybody have anything to add or corrections or anything?
I'll make a motion. We accept the agenda as written.
First by Ron,
I'll second it, Doreen.
Doreen seconds it. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Oh, Philomena's got something. I can't hear her though.
I just wanted to know,
What is that, dear?
just don't worry.
now we
That
can
I
hear you.
heard. You know, that's only when technology works, is when you're frustrated like that. If you want to, you can always throw it in the chat. Next is our public comment section. Do we have anybody in person for public comments?
There's nobody here.
Okay, do we have anybody online that is for public comments? Hearing none, except for I think Doreen's dog. We can move on from there. Next is
Oh,
our
not
meeting
my dog,
minutes.
but I'll mute it.
It's okay, dear. Next is approval of the meeting minutes. Anybody have any corrections or changes on that? Okay, then I need the motion.
Ron will make a motion. We accept the minutes.
First for Ron. Do I have a second? Philomena's got the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next is our budget review. That's quarterlies for everybody. Dan, what do you have for that?
Are you talking about the current budget or next year's?
Current budget. Quarterly,
don't-
we usually, I asked for actual or budgeted versus actual for each one of the departments that we oversee.
Okay, I don't have anything. I didn't know that.
Okay, I thought I made that clear in the email, but we'll get it. If you could send those like reports out to the committee.
Yep, we'll send them out.
Okay, and then we could attach those to the packet also for public awareness. So we will move on. Next is our introduction of our new leader for the courthouse maintenance department, Sarah Lynnefelter. Is she there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Hi, Miss Sarah. Welcome to the crew.
How do you do?
You want to tell us hi? Tell us a little about yourself.
I had gone to Northland College between 82 and 87 and decided I loved the area so much I moved back about approximately 25 years ago and have been living in the city of Ashland since. I'm kind of a Jane of all trades, but a master of none. And yeah, I putz with things until I can fix them or figure them out.
Sounds like we'll get along just fine. You are, I don't know, and it's okay if you have something for, because you are next on the agenda as the courthouse maintenance department project schedule report. We can play that by ear and until you figure out how you're going to do that. But you can just give us a verbal on what you got.
Yeah, I have typed something up so I could read off of that for you.
Nice.
My accomplishments so far is I cleaned up the landscaping and there's always more to be done with that. Washed windows in the public areas has made a huge difference in the building's appearance. I'm working at cleaning out the boiler room, the janitor's closets. There's years and years of stuff that needs to be discarded, and I'm looking forward to cleaning out storage rooms and the attic. I've modified the catchment system for the roof leak. Hope it will be containing the water better. And I also had Blakeman Plumbing and Heating come in and do some plumbing maintenance in the building just this past month. My immediate plans, I want to plasticate the windows for better insulation in some of the offices that are particularly leaky, and getting the snow blower onto the Kabuta. Ongoing concerns, which I really want to highlight. The roof leak in the southwest corner of the building. It's a long-term issue. Jim estimates it's been longer than he has worked here. The damage in the wall extends into the county clerk's office now, and there's a large crack in a pillar near the leak. And I think maybe perhaps that might be the source. And there is a structural beam attached to that pillar that is nearly rusted through.
Wow.
That's a big concern to me.
That's a huge oh wow.
The flagpole is my second one on my list. It has not been properly lit for the display of the flag for over 9 years. The flagpole seriously needs painting. It needs a halyard cover. And I looked in the solar light for it, and it would be $450 to $1,000. I'm gonna look into seeing how much it would cost to replace the electrical line from the building to the pole, but I'm not sure how well that's gonna work out. The leak into the boiler room, that's still ongoing. It has a lot of salt content in it, because when it evaporates, you can see this little white crust on stuff. There's about a ½ inch of rusty mud in the oil tank room, which also contributes to issues with the drainage. And one of the oil tanks that remains in the oil tank room only has 2 legs to stand on, and those 2 legs are on the outside wall. Windows. Weather stripping disintegrates when windows are removed for cleaning. Nylon parts are needing to be replaced. They do not do well in the heat on the south side of the building. That's where a majority of the very, very leaky windows are at. Tuck pointing of the exterior building, needed to do this to prevent water intrusion into the walls. Freeze-thaw cycle can cause spalling of the stone, which I think I've seen some evidence of already. My plans and dreams. Start resurfacing the marble floors, maybe beginning in November. Restrooms are going to be my first priority, because that's where I'm going to try to perfect my technique. Then the entryways, as they have the most surface damage. Clean the carpet runners, stains in the office carpets. The cleaner has been returned from the jail. I'm looking forward to removing, resurfacing, repainting, replacing the bench lats and the benches by the flagpole. They look pretty rough. I would like to remove the benches that face the highway. They are in general disrepair. There's lots of slivers, spiders, and they are visually unappealing. I would like a picnic table. I know it's been discussed in the past for staff to use on the north side of the building. And the 2 maple trees that are to the left and right of the main door are looking kind of distressed. So I would like to look forward to planting a replacement trees before those 2 are gone. And that's what I have for you folks.
That is amazing. I tip my hat to you on the lighting of the flagpole. There is not a lot of people that know the proper display techniques for the flagpole. And I guess I did not pay attention myself, along with all the other things that you look like you are just gangbusters on. Dan, is there a way you can work up a budget with Sarah so that way we can schedule these in?
Yeah, we're in the process of doing that now.
Cool.
I have a
Um,
question for Sarah.
Sure.
Can you get an estimate on problem number 1? The rusty beam that,
I will look into it.
because
This
that
is
doesn't sound really good,
new.
because should it go, it's only going to be a domino effect.
Yes, I agree.
And out of anything you told us, that seems rather important.
Yes.
And
You can get an
that would, yeah. That would also remind me that I know at the last PPLE meeting that we had with Clark, I had brought up if we had an emergency plan in place for if the court system, et cetera, would have some kind of issue. And sadly, that roof leak over towards Clark's office reminds me that there should be some kind of emergency plan, so that way we don't have court having issues. And I know that's with them too, but Dan, can you check on that?
Yeah, I believe Clark had told me the plan was to use the church until we
Okay.
could find some other location.
Cool. As long as there's something in place, because I don't want to see anything fall apart either. But I agree with Ron on that roof leak issue. I know the leaks in the boiler room have been there on and off for the last yearish. So thank you, Sarah. And then just keep, the next part will be yours too, but just keep us updated on how those go. We'll have a quarterly schedule out for next year. There won't be a meeting until like the last Monday of January if we follow the same pattern as we did last year or this year. Otherwise, the fire escape and the condenser projects, have those been done or are they in the works?
I did not see any notes about that whatsoever in the office.
And Clark did not
And-
mention anything about that. What we did do is Sarah did have somebody come look at the elevator in the courthouse.
Okay,
And we're looking at about $100,000 there for both the elevator, the new hydraulics, and necessary upgrades to the shaft. And that's without, of course, opening it up. I mean, when they open it up, it could be, who knows what they find. She also had somebody look at some leaky pipes in the boiler system. The boiler itself is fine. It's in great shape. The pipes are another story. We don't know about that yet. She's waiting to hear back from somebody about getting us a quote to even look at it. My guess is they're going to have to run a camera through it to actually see inside, to see if there's any corrosion. Of course, the results of that will depend, those two items will sort of determine where we go next, and the structural beam.
yeah, there was, go ahead, Philomena, if you,
Can you hear me now?
yes.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I mean, one of the things, Dan, that you and I talked about when I came in to see you the other day was, certainly there could be financing available through USDA Rural Development to either, work on issues related to the repair of the courthouse, including the elevator and, other kinds of things that are needed. I mean, the other problem that we have with the courthouse is the fact that we only have one judicial chambers limits the possibilities with respect to having another judge at some point. And, so it becomes a question of whether what we're gonna do, kind of long-term, short-term, midterm, with, with this building or upgrading and moving into another building or, what. But, I think having a good conversation with our local reps at rural development might be really wise at some point soon, because there's money that's available for facilities that we need, that counties need, and financing.
Yeah, rural development does help out. They provide very low interest loans. There's also, if we know we're going to do a big project, there's also CDBG we can apply for.
Okay.
Oh, hey, and Sarah, I just
Yep.
wanted to say that when I walked to the county courthouse the other day, I was walking by and I was like, dang, the grounds look really nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, really, really nice.
I'm
So
looking forward to making them even better.
I like the idea of a picnic table and all that, what can we do to just, what are things that we could do to provide non-monetary compensation for staff, and having nice outdoor picnic space. I think that's kind of a no-brainer. So thanks for thinking about that.
Mhm. Yes, ma'am.
Anybody else have any other questions or comments?
Laura, this is Dorothy.
Sure.
If there is any type of hiring of any type of structural engineers for any of the work that's going to be looked at because of the beam or anything like that, I would be very interested in having the discussion with that person as far as looking at the courthouse. One thing that is kind of missing is, though we're past severe weather season, but as far as if we're looking into the future for during severe weather season, where do these people in the courthouse, where do we put them? And I know when Emma was there, we started to look at, we got the blueprints out, the original blueprints of the courthouse, and started looking at the different vaults. But the vaults have all been changed and are now being used for different purposes, but the vaults are still there and are structurally made as the vault and would be the best and maybe ideal areas to be used as those sanctuaries for severe weather. But again, it's only a structural engineer that could best guide us on that, getting people down from the third floor into the second floor, etc. And if any of those facilities have been compromised, it would be kind of good to know that ahead of time. And it's kind of been that has put a limitation on further developments on some of that planning at the courthouse. That would be my request, my suggestion, to if you have somebody already there.
Excellent idea. Thanks for reminding us of the safety planning inside. Dan, that's kind of your wheelhouse, dealing with that. I also wanted to bring up in the meeting minutes from last time, Dan, there is towards the bottom, it talks about the fire escape on the south side needed some work, and that there was, just before that, it talks about the condenser too, and the repairs, and that we had already passed motions for the repairs of fire escape. And it's the AC platform repairs is the condenser issue. So that stuff is in there. Thank you again, Dorothy, for that.
Madam Chairman, is that at the courthouse or the or the 514 building?
Courthouse.
Okay, because I
Or
know
the
there,
514 building for the other one.
because there's a condenser platform at the 514, and the fire escape at the 514.
Okay.
That-
Sorry, I was.
And
taking
both of
notes
those
there.
projects, they haven't been able to get contractors to work on them yet.
Okay,
That's what the holdup on there is. They just, I mean, the supply of wood is just not there and getting somebody to do the actual work. So
Okay.
they're waiting for a contractor to take care of those two issues.
all right. Next we'll move on to the jail inspection. Do I have, I mean, I don't know if Kim's there to handle that or if we have somebody
Good.
online.
Good evening. This is Mick Brennan. Yeah, this is pretty much the jail administrator show tonight. Items 9 through 15 will all be Lieutenant Lavasser's. And before she starts giving her reports, I just want to say to the committee that she is doing a fantastic job. She's taken this and running with it and is implementing a lot of new programs and a lot of new initiatives. And I'm very proud of what she's doing so far and the things that she's accomplished with little or no guidance from the past administrator, obviously. So yeah, the jail inspection went excellent, and I'll let the Lieutenant Lavasser expand on all the other items. So I'll be here though. Thank you.
Thanks, Mick. Go ahead, Kim.
Thanks, Mick. We had the jail inspection on September 22nd. The inspector asked for our packet of paperwork. Everything was turned in. Everything was there, what she needed. She did say that the actual results of the inspection would not be ready until November or December, but she said that everything was looking good and that we were all doing a great job. So as far as the inspection goes, everything seemed and appeared in order and running well.
Okay. When you get that report, if you just want to send it out to get it to Dan and send it out to the committee.
Will do.
Thank you, dear. And since it's your show, you can go right into the next.
All right.
Um,
The fiscal consultants.
consultants' recommendations for you guys.
Yep. He was up a few weeks ago and spoke with my secretary, Missy, and the girl who we hired, Angie. She's basically taking care of money stuff. And also she is a flex jailer for us. I sent him an email and requested he email me back with what he said to us. If you want, I can read you his email. Otherwise, I can just basically just tell you what he said. He said, we're doing we are off to a very good start in redesigning our financial procedures and providing additional internal control over the collection and disbursement of cash received. We've only been using the system for a few weeks when he was there, and the final pieces have not been fully in place yet. But as far as how everything is going, he is extremely impressed by how we're doing, and he feels that the entry of jail collections, the deposits are all being made on a very timely manner. The disbursements of bails and prisoners' monies are all being done with a clear auditing trail and good transaction informational. So everything is looking very good with our auditing so far.
Excellent. Did anybody have any questions for Kim on that? Okay,
I have a
Um,
question.
go ahead.
So are we gonna see, Dan, a copy of the overall recommendations, including the recommendations related to the jail?
Yes, we'll be sending that out to the entire county board.
Okay,
Because
and is there,
that'll be
okay.
affecting every department.
and I know we've had, there were obviously issues with respect to the you know, the funds that were coming in and making sure that they were accounted for and properly deposited. Are there also going to be any recommendations related to, you know, other issues like budgeting and staffing and other kinds of, you know, other kinds of, you know, fiscal management?
Yeah, there is. And we're working with them. I'm meeting with them weekly. And,
Okay,
and in fact, we're holding a meeting tomorrow with all department heads to start going over the budgeting aspect so they can actually pull their reports in real time and learn how to use the system. So yeah, we are moving forward with that. IT is going to order the new software for Springbrook also to do the AP system and the employee time in system. So things are moving forward.
good. I look forward to hearing more about that. Thank you.
Thanks, Philomena. Thanks, Dan. Anything else on the fiscal consultant recommendations? Okay, we can move on to Matt.
I did bring our medical screening, detoxification and withdrawal, health training with custody, for staff custody, and our different screening questions, the alcohol withdrawal, benzos withdrawal, cocaine dependency withdrawal. I brought, and a detox flow sheet. I brought all of our different procedures, and so that you can see exactly what we do and how we do it, as far as when people, from the time that we get an inmate to the jail, the screening questions that we ask, if they're having any problems at the time, if they begin having any problems, what we do, the questions that we would ask them then. And then we would call the nursing company with the withdrawal paperwork that is written here. I'll just show you, for example here, the opiate withdrawal. There's 2 different pages. We would put the detainee's name, age, date of birth, date and time down. It goes right down the line. Ask the detainee, what is their drug of choice? How much do they use it? How often? When was the last time? If it's a female, is she pregnant? Could be possibly pregnant. Are there any other drugs used, street or prescription? Then we have to do their vital signs. There's a general appearance section, and it gives quite a few already prepared: sweating, anxiety, dilated pupils, abdominal pain, and then you can also write in any others that they may be having. And then you continue on to the next page. And that's when you would call the nursing company, tell the nurse exactly what's going on, and she will say, bring them to the hospital or start them on certain medications. Right here, it already has certain medications listed. It all depends on what the nurse tells you as far as what you have written down. Sometimes they'll tell you, call an ambulance right away. Sometimes they'll say, bring them up to the hospital. These are for any withdrawals that they're having. But like I said, I also have the general questions that we ask from the time that an inmate even gets brought to the jail, the COVID screening questions and the regular medical screening questions.
Could we get a copy of those to be sent out to the whole committee? I don't know if you had paper copies or just.
Could I leave it here and then? take care of that?
Yeah,
Okay, sure.
so,
I would-
so that way we can seal those. Go ahead, Philomena.
Dan, I would actually request that this be, I mean, I think this should have been included in the packet. And so if there's a way that we can amend the packet so that it's available, that would be my preference.
Yeah, we could stick it on the website under today's meeting.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Kim. That's very helpful.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, is there any other questions for the MAT update, procedures, etc.? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to the jail population update with breakdowns of age, sex, race data.
Okay, currently we have 42 inmates in the facility. We have 23 on the electronic monitor. We have 2 inmates being boarded. Year to date, we have 472 bookings. And as far as breakdown by race, we've got 19 Caucasian, 17 Native American, 0 Asian, 4 African American, 1 Hispanic, and 0 other. It looks like the page that had the age part did not print off, so I'm sorry, but I do not have that part available for you.
You can always get it to Dan and we can stick it in the packet too.
Yep, I will.
It's another one of those technology fun things, and we can roll with that. I appreciate the breakdown on the race. That way we can start tracking that data. I know there is, I'm on a task force for the city and they're going to need to start collecting some of this data. So if we can start looking at it and you know, as things get brought in through dispatch and such, tracking the data from there, just kind of get in the pattern.
Mhm.
Anybody have any questions or comments on the jail population update? Okay, we can move on to the scanner update.
Okay, the scanner. The scanner should be here next week. It's actually already being shipped. It's coming out of California. I have with me a utilization log that we have prepared. And I have also operators maintenance checklist log. And I have the body scanner policy
Nice.
that we've already got prepared for everyone. So everything's already in place, ready to go, just waiting on the scanner.
And the grant application has been submitted already.
Excellent. Here's another one of those things where you're just like what Mick had said, you're just knocking it down, Kim. Anybody have any questions about the scanner or anything yet? Okay, next is the jail assessment fee projects completed and anything that's needed soon.
All right, so we have not used the jail assessment fund yet. We have been so busy working on everything else. And so we plan on starting all of our projects January 1st, just because it's been a nightmare. I mean, there's been so much going on. So I have a list of everything that we are going to be doing. We've got the grease trap in the kitchen. That's going to be around $8,000. We have the in-sink aerator that's around $2,500. The convection oven, that's going to be about $8,000. A Huber washing machine is around $800. We call it the Huber washing machine, but it's really the kitchen Our kitchen staff uses it for their laundry. And the washing machine in our laundry room for the inmates, that needs to be replaced. It's $17,000. That machine it's never been replaced. It's been fixed numerous times. There's 3 different grades of washing machine. That's the middle level. And I don't want the top of the line because it's all touch screen, and we don't want that because we have inmate workers that are using the machine. I don't want them being able to monkey around with a touch screen, but I don't want the cheap one that is, it's a smaller machine. It has less RPMs and horsepower. And I don't really know what I'm talking about when it comes to this either. My maintenance guy does. So, but what I can say is that he said the middle one is the best one that we should get. So that's the one we're looking at. But those projects are all ones that we're looking to start around the January 1st.
Cool. Anybody have any questions about the projects? All right, and we'll move on to the water line fix.
The water line has been fixed. The repairs are completed. The city has been informed. And the only thing is, we are waiting for the inspectors to come back and re-inspect and turn in the new inspection. They are on their own timetables. They come up from downstate. And so we're just waiting for them. But everything is done and it's in working order. It's all good, so.
Okay, anybody have any questions on that piece? All right. Thank you, Kim. Again, like what Mick said, you're just taking it and running with it. I appreciate all of the crazy time you're having with all different directions of trying to get everything straightened out, procedures in place, and things fixed to make sure that the inmates are safe and you guys are safe.
Thank you, Laura.
So we definitely appreciate you. Next, okay, we do have the 814 builder elevator progress.
Yeah,
514, sorry.
right. And they had that inspected last month, and the elevator itself is fine, and the elevator shaft is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. The floor is leaning a little bit, but it doesn't look like a safety issue. We will have the contractors look at that when they replace this fire escape and do the air conditioning stand, but it's okay, the elevator.
Cool. Anybody have any other questions or input on that? Okay, the space needs study for county buildings. I think this is pretty important. We kind of talked about it last meeting a little bit. And I know Philomena had brought up, where we're going with all of this earlier. So I'd like to see that. Dan, what is your recommendation?
At this point, HHS is leasing out space in their building on Sanborn. So they don't need space over there. We have building issues here that we need to figure out what they are first and what the potential cost is. Are these expenses that are going to cost more than the building's worth for us to keep or not? And in which case do we decide to build a new campus? So I think we need to get all the pieces together first and then decide how to move forward. Do we want to do a space study, or do we want to look at just completely new construction? Or do we want to just fix what we have? But without that information in front of us, and unfortunately we're stuck by contractors on their schedule for that, I don't know how we can really move forward at this time.
Okay. then let's make sure that this gets brought up on the next agenda for,
Yeah,
like I said, the January meeting, so.
Yeah, I think you should put it on every agenda and
Yep.
keep pushing the issue. I agree with that 100%. And we will be getting a quote for the piping. We will be getting a quote for the beam. But as we stated earlier, the contractors they're busy. Which is, I guess, a good thing. But
Yeah, everybody spent a lot of time in their houses and realized there was things needed fixing.
Yeah.
Or wanted to add on, so we end up in that list of things. Next is any other updates or issues or other than courthouse projects that need to be, any needs or updates from you, Dan?
no, I haven't heard anything from any other department other than I know Matt wants to put on an addition at the highway department. That would be about $500,000. It would be a new meeting room, and then he would use the space for other stuff. But that's still in just conversations.
That's good. I know Dorothy and I had some discussions around that space before too, so that maybe it could be used for a backup emergency management site or possibly a secondary site where she might have an office too. So I think there's lots of conversations that could go on with that. Any other planning needs for going into next year, since we won't have a meeting unless necessary until after the new year?
I don't have anything.
Okay, anybody else have any thoughts or concerns? Okay, next meeting date.
I'm sorry, Laura, this is Dorothy. I wasn't sure if you were talking about 19 and along with 18.
You go right ahead, whichever one.
I just wanted to bring up that along with, we've been working on a generator project for our primary communication tower south of Mellon. And that project, the generator project, is in its final stages. And if everything goes well, we may be up and operational by the end of the week. But one of the things, there's been many delays on this project for a number of reasons, but because it's toward the end of the construction season, I do not foresee being able to get up the fencing that will need to go around the structure, the generator, the LP tank for security reasons. Now, there was money that was kind of set aside for that, but I have not yet gone and started that process, how much it will actually cost. So my question that I'm throwing out to Dan and basically the committee is the money that is in the budget for the fencing project at the North Tower, can we move that to next year's budget? Since I'm not going to be able to get that in this construction season, what would have to occur for that to happen?
Dan, is that a you issue?
Yeah, it is. That would have to go, to move that money, it would have to go onto the county board on the 9th. I'll research the issue and figure out how to do it.
Okay, I do believe we're talking about $7,500. And
Just 7,500?
Correct. However, I do not believe that is what it will cost. That was what was quoted as far as the cost when the project was bidded out a number of years ago. But we were nowhere in a position to be able to until we were kind of close to finalizing this project, I did not feel like I could start talking to the contractor about the layout of this project and the current costs until we were close to finalizing this project, because we ran into so many issues. So now that we're close to that, hopefully by the end of the week, so that the following week I can maybe even start looking at layout, and if there's any changes in the original design, things like that, so we have a better idea going into next year. I have a funny feeling the $7,500 that was originally quoted a number of years ago will be 2 to 3 times that cost now, because that's what everything is costing on this project, which was quoted out in 2018. Everything is at least double and triple the cost now. So, but while that topic was up, I wanted to bring it out since Laura and Mike are on finance, and Dan, you're here. I know it's going to be an issue. So how I need to proceed on this.
Okay, well, at that dollar amount, we can do it through the executive committee. So if we get a decent number by December, we'll have executive committee take care of it then.
So
I apologize, but I have to leave the meeting. So thank you all.
Thanks, Philomena.
So Dan, are you saying as far as the new quote, or are you just saying on the existing dollars?
A new quote. If we're going to spend we're going to spend 2 or 3 times as much money as the original quote is, we should get a new one.
Okay, and that's what, I mean, I had plans on doing that, but I didn't feel comfortable pursuing that avenue until we had the layout of the site. There were too many changes in the layout of the site occurring until we're pretty close to being done with the project, that I knew things were going to be the way they were going to be to pursue that. So
All right, let's
I
try
think
to get
we're
a new
there.
quote ASAP.
Okay, I can do that.
And then, yeah, and then we'll take it to executive committee.
Okay, thank you.
Isn't it anything under 20,000 that finance does?
Anything under 5,000, I do. Anything between 5 and 50,000, executive does. And anything over 50, the county board does.
Okay. Thanks for bringing up that, Dorothy. I don't know if we need to pass anything that says that we support whatever, but it just seems like he said, just with a new quote as soon as we can. But also, I have a question about, as we're going into this next year, I know with all the different things going on and the fiscal people in there with all the recommendations, is there a way for this committee that we could have some kind of capital projects overview that of the properties that we oversee and maintenance schedules, so that way we have something that we could, I don't know whether it's a Gantt timeline or whatever, but so that way, instead of finding things a little at a time, we could lay these out over the next however long they have to be. You know, we could be looking at a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan, depending on what the size of the project.
Yeah, that's something, a 5-year plan is something we're going to incorporate in the next year's budget, a capital improvement plan. Yeah, can we talk about exactly what kind of format you want to see? And that's something we can do.
I just like timelines, and I mean, the Gantt chart that the fiscal people gave us for, was it in finance that we got that?
Yep.
Where they had like the timelines, and just really, as long as we have like project dates, the intermediate steps as it takes to, so we know we can check off on their list, and that we know, you know, what kind of things we're looking at, and instead of, and I know there are going to be things like, you know, things we don't see, but
Yep.
Um,
And there are
something
gonna be
that's,
things-
yeah,
Sorry.
something that's nice and visual. It's okay. But something that we can see these timelines and we know we can fit other things in there, and that way it's a running list instead of, you know, little verbal updates. We can have a whole report. So I think it makes it clear for the constituents to see that how we're working on things, that we have timelines and such. I mean, I know we do, but seeing those things is different than hearing about them.
Mhm. Well, it helps us budget out in the future too.
Definitely does. Makes your life easier.
Yeah. So yeah, it is something we're going to be doing. So
Cool. Anybody else have anything for the next year's planning needs? Any thoughts? Anything you guys would like to see? You guys are just so happy I burned through this big list, aren't you? You thought you were going to be here for days. Anything from you, Dan?
I know, I think we've covered everything for this committee.
Okay. All right, next meeting date, I looked, the last Monday in the month is January 31st. That way we go over the end of the year stuff and set the schedule for the next year. Lori, does that look like it's open, or is no one else planning that far ahead?
We'll check the calendar.
Okay,
If there's a problem, we'll let you know.
all right, is anybody else, does that work?
Sounds good.
All right,
Sounds good to me too.
cool beans. You okay with it, Mike?
I'm good.
All right,
That's so far, it's so far out, like, that's almost 3 months. November, December, and the end of January. Wow.
it is.
Yeah, it is.
We, like, if there's any other ideas you guys have, I kind of just laid out, you know, I had proposed the dates, meeting after each quarter, trying to keep track of the projects and stuff. I appreciate the input. I just picked, what we did is we met last January, the end of it, and that's where we kind of set out the quarterly meetings to do reviews. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And if it's all okay with you guys, then the last thing is I just need the motion usually everybody wants to make.
Well, this is Mike here. Just let me have a minute, if you
Sure.
will bear with me just a little bit. You know, what would be kind of nice, at least for myself, being a new member of the board here, we have a number of buildings, we meaning the county, and you know, as you know, and as some of the board members know, that I'm advocating that we need to start looking and planning for a new building for the county. The courthouse is a ticking time bomb. Our maintenance person here, she alluded to, you know, working on the grounds and having some piping issues repaired, and we got an estimate on the elevator to bring that up to, I want to say, code. That was not mentioned, bringing it up to code, but bringing it up to repair. Some of the issues on that elevator had been mentioned. You know, the elevator's good, the shaft is good, but it needs $100,000 worth of repair. And well, are we looking at putting that in our 2022 budget, or as chairman of the finance committee, I need to kind of stay on top of, okay, the 9th of November, which is 2 weeks here, the finance committee has approved the finance budget as is, and it's being brought forward to the board for final approval. Is that not right, Dan?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So in there, I don't believe we've mentioned, or it has been mentioned, that we need another $100,000 for our elevator in the courthouse.
It's
And
not. We're gonna have to do bonding for that.
So, and of course, now that our old maintenance person had retired, and he had started to, it had been brought to our attention of all the, what do you call it, stuff that's stored up in the attic, so to speak, and the additional weight up there. And that stuff is obviously being gone through, not at a whirlwind, but as time permits, individuals are going up there, going through what they can, and destroying what can be destroyed. And we're trying to lessen the load on the ceiling up in the courthouse.
Mhm.
Because I believe at one point in time, a few months back, maybe 3 months ago or so, I had made mention, well, gee, that, attics are not structurally built to, store heavy, file cabinets and papers. And I've not been up there. I don't know what's all up there. It was a picture was painted to the committee that there's a lot of stuff up there, and there's a lot of weight, and there's today is the first time that I heard that on the southwest corner there's a leak, and that leak is coming down into the county clerk's office, and wow, it's always nice to have another set of eyes taking a look at what's going on with our buildings. I think we'll all agree. And well, I ain't looking for a audit by independent firm. Don't get me. I'm not looking for that. But now that we have a new maintenance gal here that's stepped up to the plate, and she's off and running. She's got some good things. I ain't going to say she's ahead of the ball here by putting that snowblower on the Kubota, but it will snow. We will get snow this winter. But it's better sooner than later. However, getting back to my point, I would like to have a breakdown of our buildings and their condition by perhaps maybe just our maintenance person. And in doing so, we could touch base on the fire escapes and the ACs and all the deficiencies that was talked about at the last meeting. Is that good?
It's doable, yes. It'll take a little bit of time, but we can do it.
Well, our next meeting's not until
January.
January 31st. 2 or 3 months. I ain't looking for something tomorrow.
Yep.
But our maintenance. Let me ask this question: our maintenance people only maintain the courthouse building, or do they maintain our other buildings as well?
No, there's different people that maintain different buildings. So I'll have to talk to the department heads about getting their maintenance people or somebody on their staff to look at their buildings. And then the ones that are questionable, we'll probably want to send whomever, if we're going to hire somebody to look at like the beam in here and to look at the roof and the pipe and other issues, we'd probably want to send that person to other buildings if there are problem issues at those buildings.
Well, that beam, is that a structural thing or,
Yeah, it's a big steel beam.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's rusting out. I just found out about it myself like a week or two ago. So yeah, there's that. And so that's something that we're looking to get a quote on to see if it's even repairable. A large portion of this is that we need to see what's wrong first before we make decisions about the future, or whether we're better off repairing or whether we're better off building. In any case, I mean, all this is going to be paid for with bonding, because if we're looking at quite a bit of money here, that's not going to affect the 22 budget. That's going to affect 23 and going forward. Although the county board could vote on that next year. It's just the payments don't arrive till the following year.
Yeah.
So, and that's something we work with rural development on, or we go to a company like Ellers who might be able to get, I know they can get interest rates at 2% right now. I mean, so And it's also something we want to consider talking to an engineer about, getting a CDBG grant, because they do facilities projects too. So you could get
Yeah.
the feds to pay for half of it. But identifying all the problems is the first step, and I think I agree with you on that.
Well, we need to know where we're at before we can, draw a line on where we want to go and what we want to do and
Yep.
what's it going to cost. So that, that would, like you indicated, it's going to be a 23 budget. So, before I retired, we always do a budget 2 years in advance. Unlike the county, we're looking at passing a budget for 22, and that's 2 months away. That's right around the corner. And we're still, trying to pacify our employees with the wages and anything else that we can put in that budget. What's it going to cost us to operate for 2022? And it's almost kind of unheard of, being this short a time frame to be addressing these issues. I'd like to be a little bit further out, but it's what it is. The county's a county, so.
Yeah. To that point, Mr. Berlin, municipalities and counties pass their budget in October, November for the following year.
Yeah.
They don't do
Yeah.
biennial budgeting. I don't even, I can I can find out if it's even legal. I just know that every one of them does it annually.
Well,
Only the state does
I'm not
biennial.
disputing, but what I'm doing is trying to look forward, so it eases the pain when we know this is going to cost us money.
Right, and that's why we're
You
going
know,
to do a capital improvement plan, a
There
5-year
you go.
plan, so we know how much is coming up ahead of time. That won't
Thank you.
stop the things that just happened, but at least we'll have an idea of the bigger projects,
Mm-hmm.
which is what Chair
Okay.
Negro was talking about with the timeline.
Mm-hmm. Sounds
Um,
good. With that being said, I'm good.
Okay, I just had, since you brought up bonding, do we have only a certain amount of bonding we can do? And,
Yeah, we're nowhere near close to it.
okay,
county,
does that include the stuff that because I thought and I don't remember how it was when I first got on the county board, we had allowed some kind of space for MMC to do their projects.
The county only has about $400,000 in yearly long-term debt.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll
that's just a
give
couple
you a
mortgages
call
and
and-
car loans.
Yeah.
All the other debt levy gets taken out in December and paid back in February. So there's the actual long-term debt doesn't exist. So the debt levy cap we're way under the limit.
Okay.
It's 5% of equalized value.
All right. Anyone else has anything?
Yes, I do.
Go right
This is-
ahead.
This is
Join
for
in.
Dan. This is for Dan. Do our insurance companies do an annual or a 5-year inspection on our buildings?
Yes, they do inspections on the building. I don't know how often it is,
Okay,
but yeah, they do them every, from my past experience, they do them every 2 or 3 years.
okay. Do we have any of those reports?
No, but I can ask our insurance agent.
Okay, because I used to deal with insurance companies doing
Yeah,
building reports, so
yeah, I can ask.
that would be a good source of some of our information we need.
Yeah, and to that point, yeah, if something were awry, it certainly would have been pointed out.
Yeah.
So, but maybe it's time for them to inspect again.
Probably is. Anyone have anything else?
How about an adjournment?
I was gonna say, how long did you guys want this to go? I burned through that list. Come on.
I'll second that adjournment.
Okay, a first by Ron, a second by Mike. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I
All right.
Aye.